up, Stacy's Faith and Stars family? Thank you for tuning into my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Either way, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Today we're talking about marriage, and as far as marriage goes, we're gonna hit on the topic of don't get married until what, you ask? Until a few things. Number one, don't get married until you know how your future spouse handles him or herself in an argument. You don't want to end up married to somebody down the road, y'all have an argument, and then he or she just flies off the handle. Like they start throwing stuff, start cussing you out, start, saying I shouldn't never married you, you ain't better than my ex, and throwing all your past mistakes in your face, all this crazy nonsense, throwing temper tantrums, maybe even becoming physically violent. No, that is totally out of the question. So I always say that's one of my things. Never marry somebody until you have a serious argument with them, because if you don't know that person's temperament, and you have to learn how to be in a marriage and not like each other sometimes. And that's just the honest truth. Like, marriage is not gonna always be rainbows and lollipops and sunshine, and it's just not. It would be nice to always have great days in your marriage, but that's just not gonna happen. Like, sometimes you're gonna come home to your spouse and you don't like him or her that day. It's just the way it is. But you still gotta come home and be respectful and love that person, possibly cook for that person, take care of that person, even though you might feel like punching him or her right in the throat. But you can't do that. But it's just the point that, what I mean. It's just like, you just might not like your spouse all the time. You should like your spouse the majority of the time. But if I'm gonna be completely real, you're gonna have days where you just don't feel like looking at his or her face. That's just how it is. But you have to learn to live with each other even when you have those disagreeable moments. So don't get married until you really know your future spouse's temperament. Like, some people can pretend to be of sound mind and have everything all together, but in all actuality, they're just a ticking time bomb. And it's just like, ugh. You married to a person that's like breaking stuff up, and now y'all gotta go to Value City to replace the glass table in the kitchen that she done broke up because she threw a plate at you and it shattered the table. Like, or y'all gotta call a repairman because your husband done punched a hole in the wall. He came this close to punching you. It happens. Like, we can say it in a comical way to make it easier to swallow, but these things happen. You don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who always brings up the past. Like, you remember 6 years ago when I caught you with 1 Corinthians 13:5 tells us that love keeps no record of wrong. So whatever you forgave that person for, you really sincerely, way down deep in your heart, you have to forgive them wholeheartedly, because love keeps no record of wrongs. I know that might be a huge pill to swallow, but it's true. If you forgave that person, you have to really forgive them. And along with forgiving them, you have to honestly forgive yourself, because sometimes we hold grudges against ourselves. Like, we beat ourselves up for things that we shoulda, coulda, woulda done but didn't do. You gotta forgive yourself too. Don't get married until you talk about kids. Does your spouse want kids and you don't? Are y'all thinking that you're gonna grow together, thinking that, okay, well, she doesn't want kids, but maybe, one day she will. Maybe one day she won't ever. Not everybody is meant to be a parent, and that doesn't make you less of a woman if you don't want to be a mom. That doesn't make you less of a man if you don't want to be a dad. Like, some people just are not meant to be parents, and that's totally cool. But you have to decide between the two of y'all, is that something that you're willing to give up? or if that's something that you're willing to compromise. And compromising or giving up on kids, that's huge. So talk about those things. Talk about finances. Talk about, who's the better saver, who's better at budgeting, who's better at just finances overall, investing, all those things. And even if your spouse didn't live up to his or her end of the bargain when it came to finances, love keeps no record of wrong. But that does not mean that you got to keep repeating your same mistakes. You got to try to come up and meet that person where you said you would be. That's only fair. Don't get married until you really know who you are. You can't really genuinely love somebody if you don't know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you can't love yourself. When you don't love yourself, you can't adequately love somebody else. Those are just my tips of the day. Don't get married until, and remember, let your faith empower you to reach for the stars.